Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Lisa Erickson, and today I want to discuss self-care of the forearm and hand as it pertains to doing your own self-tissue work. Many people have asked me after I told them get a band, get a ball, get a therapy bar and work on yourself. Many of them say that's great, but then what do I do? How do I know that my work is of benefit, and how do I even know where to start? So today we're going to start with a very gentle compilation of exercises to do to start breaking up scar tissue in this area, but also bring in fluid and nutrition, and by doing that we bring in pliability and flexibility of these structures. So we're going to start by working into the palm and working into the fingers, and then we're going to work up through the wrist and up towards the elbow. So each one of the muscles of the forearm comes down through this carpal tunnel, attaches on the fingers. We've discussed that in previous videos, but how does that pertain into our therapy tools? So this is a golf ball. It is really hard and solid, and it may not be the perfect tool to start out with. You might be better starting off with a really soft ball. Some stores still have them in their quarter coin slots at the front door for kids, those super balls that are really bouncy. You might go try to pick one of those up. Or there's a gal who does something called the melt method. She's a massage therapist. She's also an excellent teacher, and she has an assortment of tools that look just like this, that are soft and squishy, that could most definitely help you out. So the goal is, if you're pushing lightly and gently, you're not going to hurt yourself, and then as the tissues start to warm up and as they start to become loose, you can work deeper into the structures below them. So taking a tool like this, we're first going to start out by doing gentle pressure. So we're going to push into, if we were going to break the palm up into 4 regions, the big mound of your thumb would be one region. Another region would be this bar up the outside of your hand. The third region would be the bar across the top. And the fourth would be the very center of your palm. So our goal would be to gently press with our tool into those regions and just see what our body tells us, see what it feels like. It might be that you notice that there is a relaxing sensation by pressing in those areas, or you might find that it's sharp or achy, or that it brings back an unhappy feeling that you recognize from your previous climbing. So it's very important to listen to our body and gain some insight from our injuries or our unhappy areas so that we can better learn how to treat them. So I'm going to have you first start by focusing on one of those areas. So I'm going to start with the very center in here. Everyone starts with something different, but I'm just going to start in there, and I'm just going to feel around, and I'm pushing very lightly at first, and I'm just kind of looking to see underneath the surface, is there anything crunchy under there? Is there anything really ropey or tight? And is there anything that is sensitive or unhappy with your pressure? So first, starting in that region, maybe a minute or two of just gently pressing in there. And as the tissue starts to loosen up from your pressure, it might feel like it would be a good idea to go a little bit deeper. So then we'll just push a little bit harder in that area and see what your body tells you. Moving down into the muscles of the thumb, and here, those muscles oppose. They help flex the thumb. They help bring the thumb out to the side. Well, that'd actually be on the back of the forearm. But all of those muscles deep into the pit of the thumb also need some work. So let's focus in there, gently pressing into those muscles, loosening them up. And mine is talking to me because I do lots of pinches at work, kneading into muscles, and it's one of my favorite things to do while climbing is the really wide pinches. So mine is definitely talking to me. So while pressing gently in here, if you find an area that's sore, you're welcome to sit on it and gently hold it and see what your body tells you. As you're holding that spot, you might feel some sensation onto the back of the hand. You might even feel something up into the forearm, or your pain might be very local to your thumb. So if you're pressing and you feel pain that travels out of the thumb, that's just letting us know that you are on what we call a trigger point, which is a tight, irritated ball of muscle, a little knot. And what happens is that little knot is going to refer this fake sensation of pain elsewhere. Totally normal, don't freak out about it, but observe it and listen to it. Our goal is to sit on any of those trigger point spots, so the spot that refers a fake phantom pain elsewhere or into the finger, or any type of pain that travels to a larger area. That spot that we're sitting on, I'm going to call that a gold line. And we want to sit on that spot and wait for that area of pain to slowly get smaller. So it goes from regional pain to a very local pain. And hopefully it should not be sharp, it should not be burning, it should just be achy and or like a pressure, a deep pressure. If you're getting any numbness or tingling into the thumb, you're pushing too hard. So we're just gently pressing in there. So we're just going to feel around, see what we feel. So that is into the thumb, and now we're going to go up the outer border of our hand. So we're going to go up into this region. So just gently rolling up that, seeing what we feel. Make sure your hand doesn't pop off. I'm just feeling for any knots, and I do feel a bunch of tightness in there, but it's not too sore or achy. And this is where all the little muscles to the pinky go for squeezing that pinky down. You see a lot of that if you do a bunch of bouldering or a bunch of incline climbing, maybe cave climbing. This might have a lot of tightness in there. So I'm feeling a really tight, knotted thing in there that is really painful. So I'm going to lighten up on it. Our goal is not to create pain, but to loosen up that muscle and work with it. So this is where we need to have the discussion about how much pressure is too much pressure. Everybody's different, and you should be applying as much pressure that you can relax into, but not so much pressure that that area feels like it needs to contract up and fight against you. A lot of it comes down to conditioning and the type of mental training that we've been doing with our self-care. If you go in there and you're beating on it, and your body takes that as you not helping it, but you abusing it, things are going to tighten up and they're going to resist us more. Versus if you go into that area and you press gently until you feel a little bit of resistance, but we're not jamming on it, they're getting more hydration underneath the skin, and you're also getting that muscle just to slowly start melting and working with us instead of working against us. The more massage and self-care you've had, the quicker these knots are going to let go. So please don't feel as if you're behind. If you're working on these knots and they're not going anywhere, it might be we need to just be more light and gentle with it. And sometimes less is more, where we just do a little bit one day and then we sit back and see how it feels afterwards. And if it feels achy and sore, that's totally fine during your first couple sessions of working on it, because every muscle that is contracted, as it loosens up, it releases waste. It releases whatever toxins and things that's been storing up inside of it, and it's getting new blood flow. So we're flushing all kinds of gunk out of these muscles, and we will feel kind of a residual workout soreness as if you climbed the day before. Totally expected. So, but what we want is we want those to slowly, those symptoms and those after effects to be decreasing and getting better as time goes on. So after working into this bar, now we're going to kind of go up and work between these. There's a lot of bone in there, bony knobs. So if you have a hard tool, as I'm using a golf ball, you want to press very, very lightly. You don't want to be mashing on it. This is our first go through this, so we're warming up the tissues. So I don't want you putting a lot of pressure on there. The whole goal is just to slowly start warming them up and making them loose and flexible. That gives them more hydration. And then once they start becoming hydrated, then we can work between the bones of each finger. Up in between them is our muscle fibers, our interosseous muscles and our lumbricals. So the interosseous muscles squeeze those bones together, and the lumbricals just open and close the fingers. But both of those will come down through these fingers and down into the meat of the palm. And so we want to make sure that's all soft and loose and flexible. So with this one, I will actually add pressure from the back of the hand. So I will hold that ball between the fingers, and then I will actually relax my fingers down so they're relaxed, and then providing pressure on the top of the hand. Let me show you what that looks like. Providing pressure on the top of the hand. So I'm going to get into the area between the two bones, so right into here, and then I'm going to apply some pressure from the top of the fingers, and then I'm just pressing down into that area. And you might feel some pressure down into your middle finger. You might feel some achiness, some tingling. It should not be going numb, but we do tend to feel some sort of a sensation on the fingers while we're doing these muscle therapies, and it doesn't mean that we're sitting on a nerve. It just means that we have found a tight knot, which we call a trigger point, and we're waiting for that to let go. So just pressuring in there, and I want you to go up between each of the fingers and just see what that feels like. And you might find that one is a little more knotted than the rest, and it might be you find nothing and that it's all truly healthy. Fantastic. So we started with that, and now we're going to run up from each finger. We're going to roll up into the forearm, tracing up and down from each one of these. If you're really interested in this and you find this to be just super awesome type of care, I would definitely recommend going and checking out the melt method, which is where a lot of these come from. Other ideas are to try a variety of tools. You can use little round balls, you can use all different types of things to get in there, like a can of tomato paste, but make sure that you press lighter versus harder. So getting into this area, we'll start with the finger. I'll start with my pointer finger first, gently rolling up the finger so we're stretching it, rolling gently into the palm, and then as we cross over, I wish I didn't have a bracelet on because that is not good form, and then gently rolling up the forearm, and then back down again. So what that's going to look like, sorry, I'm trying to get into a better position for you guys. What that's going to look like is rolling up the finger, rolling up the forearm, rolling up into the elbow area, and back down again. And we're going to do that for every single finger. And first, I want you to be pressing very lightly, and then as you get good at it, and as those tissues start to loosen up, you can start pressing a little bit heavier, okay? So I want you to go up and down every single one twice lightly. Then after you've done it lightly, then you can start pressing a little bit heavier, and check left side as compared with right side. So going through all of this may take you 10 minutes, but it's really, really going to help out the elasticity and the flexibility in here. And also, when you're climbing, these muscles get knotted up and they get tight. And as you start to relax them and loosen them up, not only do they heal faster and they build up less waste because they're not working so hard to be tight, but also they prep quicker for your next bout of climbing. So if you're someone that pumps out quick, or you're noticing a decrease in hand strength, try these out and see how your body responds. It might be that just a little bit of work gets you quite further on in your climbing with less endurance issues and more power on the wall. We shouldn't be feeling our hand talking to us while we're climbing. Things should be nice and loose. So try that out, and we'll talk soon. Have a great day.